I'm Dr. Masha, and this is Hyperbaric Living channel, a place where you find information about hyperbaric therapy and hyperbaric chambers. Today I'd like to talk to you about effects of hyperbaric oxygen therapy on sleep. European Sleep Congress stated that at least 9 out of 10 people experience bad night's sleep. 70 million Americans suffer from at least one form of sleep disorder, whether it's difficulty falling asleep, waking up at night, or sleep apnea, condition when we stop breathing at night. There's a vast amount of evidence that links poor night's sleep with age-related chronic disease. This means that all these people who experience bad night's sleep are at increased risk for dementia, Alzheimer's, cancer, cardio-vascular disease, and diabetes. Of course, we've all experienced at least once in our lifetime bad night's sleep, and usually it can be solved with easy interventions such as lifestyle changes, herbs, or supplements. But there are cases and there are times when simple interventions don't work or don't help as much. So we're constantly searching for new therapies that can help us improve sleep. Is hyperbaric oxygen therapy one of those therapies? Today we'll find out. When I first started practicing and I started treating patients in hyperbaric chamber, I've noticed that some of them experienced really good night's sleep after their hyperbaric sessions. But I've also had patients who haven't noticed any change in their sleep, and some whose sleep quality has declined after hyperbaric treatment. So it made me thinking, what is the mechanism behind it? Why some people experience improvements in their sleep while others see no change or even decrease in quality of their sleep after hyperbaric treatments? And this is what I've noticed. First of all, a group of patients that really benefited from hyperbaric therapy in terms of quality of their sleep were people who were under a lot of stress and who had consequences of being under a lot of stress. For example, they started to gain weight, they couldn't control their eating, and they weren't sleeping well at night. These people, after a series of hyperbaric sessions, saw their sleep improved. And the reason behind it is hormone cortisol. Cortisol is a hormone that goes up when we're stressed, but it's also a hormone that wakes us up in the morning. Cortisol levels are its highest in the morning, and then they steadily decline throughout the day. They're really low in the evening, and it allows us to fall asleep, and they stay low throughout the night, so we sleep well and we don't wake up. In people who are stressed, cortisol levels can be consistently high. They don't go down as much in the evening, so this feeling of wired and tired is very common in this condition, and this cortisol level prevent people from falling asleep and staying asleep. Hyperbaric therapy is known to decrease elevated cortisol levels and regulate its secretion. That's why stressed people, after a series of hyperbaric sessions, usually see improvement in their sleep quality. Another group of people who benefited from hyperbaric sessions in terms of their sleep, but not only of course, but sleep was affected favorably, were people with chronic disease. In chronic disease, we see inflammation go up. Inflammatory markers are usually elevated, and we know that elevated inflammatory markers are associated with bad quality sleep. So when we apply hyperbaric therapy, we know that inflammation goes down, inflammatory markers decrease, and sleep quality improves. Another reason for improved quality of sleep in people with chronic disease is a hormone called melatonin. Melatonin is a hormone that's secreted at night, and it keeps us asleep. It regulates sleep and wake cycle. But besides that, melatonin is highly anti-inflammatory. Hyperbaric oxygen therapy increases significantly endogenous, which means internal, melatonin production. Therefore, people with chronic disease who undergo series of hyperbaric sessions see their sleep improved. Usually my advice for people who have problems sleeping is to schedule their hyperbaric sessions in the second half of the day, approximately 3 to 4 hours before their bedtime, to allow for increased melatonin secretion. This will allow them to fall asleep and especially not wake up during the night. One of the sleep disorders that favorably responds to hyperbaric oxygen therapy is obstructive sleep apnea. Obstructive sleep apnea is seen in people with metabolic disorders, insulin resistance, diabetes, and cardiovascular disease. It's a condition when a person stops breathing when they're sleeping for at least 10 seconds. And of course, it results in oxygen drop. And this oxygen drop is quite dangerous because it can result in stroke, heart attack, or dementia. People with sleep apnea usually snore really loudly, especially right after they stop breathing. Even if you don't hear yourself snoring, you should suspect that if you're waking up groggy with heavy head, which means you haven't had a good night's sleep, you should be checked for sleep apnea. From research and from clinical experience, we've seen really good results in people with sleep apnea who underwent a series of hyperbaric treatments. Their sleep apnea improved and their sleep quality improved. There is more research that was done not specifically for hyperbaric therapy effects on sleep, but rather different parameters were checked and sleep was one of them. For example, we saw a favorable effect in a group of children with cerebral palsy who underwent hyperbaric therapy. Their sleep quality improved. Same was seen in military personnel who suffered from traumatic brain injury. Various group of patients with neurodegenerative disorders, as well as opioid addiction. As you can see, sleep improvements were seen in different groups of people. Of course, we're lacking research, and we need to do more research on the specific effects of hyperbarics on sleep, to have a look how people with various health conditions respond to hyperbaric therapy, what pressure is optimal for somebody who's suffering from sleep disorder, and also effects that hyperbaric oxygen therapy has on autonomic nervous system in terms of sleep. And let me explain why. For example, children on autistic spectrum have easily excitable autonomic nervous system. Therefore, sometimes when they undergo hyperbaric therapy, their sleep quality is decreased. And the way to overcome it is to start slowly, use lower pressures at the beginning, and go steadily, building tolerance both to pressure and oxygen, starting with low pressure and building it up safely to the level one child can tolerate. And if you feel that you've overdone it, take a step back to the lower level of pressure. Stay there until you feel that your child is ready to move further up. And that's how you do it. More is not necessarily better. I hope I answered your questions about sleep and hyperbarics. I get a lot of those, and of course every case is different. So if you have your special hyperbaric sleep story, please tell us about it in the comment section below. Otherwise, please give this video likes and subscribe to this channel if you like these videos to receive more videos about hyperbaric oxygen therapy every week.